Horror cinema has had many icons over the years, but few have had the same significance and cultural impact as Nosferatu. Released in 1922, this silent film directed by F.W. Murnau became a fundamental pillar of horror cinema and one of the most influential films in the history of cinema. Loosely based on Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, Nosferatu not only popularized the vampire genre, but also left an indelible mark on cinema as a medium of artistic expression. In this story, we will explore the origin of Nosferatu, its creation, the impact it had on the film industry, and its lasting legacy. The story of Nosferatu begins with Bram Stoker's masterpiece Dracula, published in 1897. This novel, which tells the story of a vampire named Count Dracula and his arrival in London, quickly became a literary success. Its popularity led to multiple film adaptations. However, at the time Nosferatu was produced, the rights to the novel Dracula were strictly controlled by Stoker's estate, meaning that direct adaptations of the work were prohibited. The German director F.W. Murnau and producer Enrico Diekmann decided to create an unauthorized adaptation of Dracula, based on its plot, but changing the names of the characters and other important details. Instead of Count Dracula, Murnau introduced Count Orlok, a grotesque and monstrous vampire who becomes the film's protagonist. Despite attempts to conceal the story's true inspiration, Nosferatu was sued by Stoker's estate, who won the lawsuit. As a result, the film was withdrawn from circulation, and all copies were ordered to be destroyed. However, some copies survived. Over time, the film was recognized as one of the most important in cinema history. Despite legal difficulties, Nosferatu premiered in Berlin on March 4, 1922. The film was made on a modest budget and with a small crew. F.W. Murnau, who was already a director recognized for his ability to create disturbing atmospheres, was in charge of directing, while the script was written by Henrik Galeen. The cinematography was the work of Karl Freund, who used innovative lighting and shadow techniques to bring to life a macabre and oppressive atmosphere. One of the highlights of Nosferatu is the way the film uses German expressionism, an artistic movement that was characterized by the distortion of reality to express inner feelings and human anguish. The set design in Nosferatu is a clear example of this technique. Shadows, strange angles, and artificial sets create a world that seems unreal and terrifying, immersing the viewer in a visual nightmare. The film's casting was equally critical to its success. Max Schreck, a relatively unknown actor at the time, played Count Orlok, the central vampire. His performance is one of the most iconic in the history of horror cinema. Schreck used disturbing makeup and an exaggerated acting style to create a character that is both human and monstrous. His appearance, with pointed ears, sharp teeth, and an extremely thin figure, has been etched in the collective memory as the image of the classic vampire. The plot of Nosferatu follows the journey of a young Hutter, who is sent to Transylvania to do real estate work with the mysterious Count Orlok. As Hutter ventures deeper into Orlok Castle, he begins to realize that something is not right. Orlok, a vampire who feeds on human blood, has sinister plans that endanger the life of Hutter's wife, Ellen. The rest of the film unfolds with a series of events culminating in an epic battle between good and evil, with Ellen playing a crucial role in the fight against Orlok. What sets Nosferatu apart from other Dracula adaptations is the way the film presents the vampire. Unlike later depictions, which showed vampires as seductive and charismatic beings, Orlok is grotesque and monstrous, making him an even more terrifying figure. Despite the legal problems surrounding its release, Nosferatu quickly established itself as a masterpiece of horror cinema. The film became a reference for generations of filmmakers who used its innovative visual and narrative techniques. Murnau's use of expressionism and the way he played with shadows and light laid the groundwork for future horror films. Many later filmmakers, including Alfred Hitchcock and John Carpenter, have cited Nosferatu as a direct influence. The character of Count Orlok also left a mark on popular culture. His image has been reinterpreted again and again over the years. Nosferatu paved the way for a long series of vampire films. Many of the elements that the film introduced, such as the vampire's vulnerability to sunlight and its need for human blood, became fundamental rules within the vampire myth in film culture. Today, Nosferatu is considered one of the most important films in cinema history. Although it was withdrawn from circulation after the copyright trial, its legacy has endured. The film has been restored and screened numerous times. It continues to be a reference in horror cinema and in the history of cinema in general. Max Schreck's image as Count Orlok remains one of the most iconic in horror cinema, and his influence is evident in many modern depictions of vampires. Nosferatu not only defined the horror genre, but also showed cinema's ability to create powerful atmospheres and move viewers without the need for words. It is a masterpiece of silent cinema, which demonstrates that the true essence of fear can be captured in a visual and artistic way. If you want to see other interesting stories, you can follow me on my YouTube channel, Frank Fernandez Historia,